Hello and welcome to Bits Play Games! In this video, I'm gonna give 3 reasons I think you should buy Super Mario Bros. Wonder, if you haven't already, and just kind of give my early thoughts on the game. Me and my wife are about halfway through, so there's still some stuff we didn't see, but I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of how I feel on it. And spoiler alert, I love it. So, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, I feel like right away, from the first trailer, you saw the art style of the game, and myself and a lot of other people loved it right away, because for one main reason, it was different than all the other new Super Mario Bros. Titles. And not only was it new, but it looked really nice. I mean, there's just kind of a stylistic look to it, and I was excited to see it more in action outside of the trailer. So when Rachel and I started playing this game, we both had the benefit of going in without watching or reading much pre-release content and reviews, and the first thing that caught our eyes was how fun the art style is. There's so many little touches that just bring each moment to life, from kind of just the cymbal crash and effects when you do a ground pound, to the stylistic border that goes around the characters when you get a fire flower or an item, or the elephant power-up. It just kind of adds little visual treats kind of as you're playing that kind of keeps you engaged in the game. The game's colorful and bright. It especially looks good on the Switch OLED, which I am lucky enough to play it on sometimes, because it just plays to how colorful the art style is, and it's just kind of pleasant, and it's not plain. Like, I don't want to... I like New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, Super Mario Bros. U, but I was kind of just 2D Mario'd out at that point from them all kind of feeling and looking the same. Level design was amazing on all of those games, but it just felt too similar. Even Mario Maker, as nice as that game is to make your own levels, it's just like, I got a lot of joy playing that game, a lot of hours in, but it just kind of, that whole 2D Mario fatigue was still setting in. So I feel like when this game first was announced, the thing that kind of saved it for me was the art style, or at least that gave me hope. So when I saw how much I liked the art style, I was like, okay, I'm a little excited for this game compared to if it was just another 2D Mario. Not only is the game colorful, I feel like a complaint I had with some of the other 2D Marios is the backdrops of the levels. There wasn't enough going on for me, and it just kind of made the levels feel stale. And I feel like in this game, the backdrops kind of have more going on, that they kind of add a sense of depth. And there was one level about halfway through the game where you see Castle Bowser kind of just menacingly sitting in the background, and that's just kind of cool to see as you're going through the level. And it also kind of gives you a little bit of feeling of where you are in the world, and it kind of immerses you more into, you know, where kind of how you're going through the story. But yeah, this is my favorite 2D Mario art style by far, and I hope in future games they only expand on it and not get complacent. I mean, I feel like a game, or maybe another one, very similar art style, cool, but I hope they kind of just keep expanding on it and making it better. So the second thing I noticed with this game that just kind of hooked me was I just noticed how fun and varied it is. And it's kind of like from getting power-ups, letting you become an elephant, and from getting power-ups that shoot bubbles that dissolve enemies inside of it. I mean, they're just kind of things that kind of give you that shock and awe moment. Like, oh, we're an elephant, or like, we kind of knew it from the art and everything, or the bubbles dissolving the enemies and being able to hop on the bubbles. There's just a lot of kind of pleasant surprises going on at just every moment you're kind of moving forward in the game. I think the best way that I could explain kind of the gameplay and what I mean by all this is that Nintendo decided to go full weird with this game, and I know sometimes really leaning into the weird and bizarre, it kind of can be hit or miss, but I feel like in my experience, when Nintendo kind of went this direction and leaned fully into it that the games just it just hit for those games, and this game is no exception. I feel like the becoming an elephant, it kind of just sets the tone right away. It's like, okay, Cat Peach, Cat Mario. I feel like that's like, oh, that's a cool power-up. I feel like you're kind of pandering to, I don't know. It's just like, I feel like it's almost the safe choice. Like, oh, make him a cat. It's different, but Cat Mario and Peach and all them, that's cool. But the elephant, that's not something I expected. And just the little animations of running. My wife loves Elephant Peach, and when I asked her what she preferred between Elephant Peach and Cat Peach, she 100% went with Elephant Peach. She absolutely loves her. And it's just one of those things where it's just such a cool power-up that is silly but like functional with like the gameplay. And it's just fun and weird, and that's kind of what I love with Mario games, what I love with like video games in general, when some of my favorite games are games that really aren't afraid to just get weird and bizarre. And then you have Wonder Flowers. Now, I feel like some of the stuff with the Wonder Flower and how they kind of make the levels varied and kind of unique. It's a little polarizing from what I've seen online. I've seen some reviews where they kind of complain that it's a little bit jarring how much the levels differ, and to them it makes it feel like you're not kind of in the theme of whatever level you're supposed to be in. And I was worried. That's one of the few reviews I saw a little bit of before I started the game, and I can gladly say after playing the game that worry, at least for me, is unfounded. I think the Wonder Flower completely adds to the game. It's a gimmick, like any game has its gimmick to, its hook. And the Wonder Flower, to me, really just feeds on what makes Mario games good, which is the creativity. Now, in previous Mario games, you kind of, you had creative ways that, and little elements they did, and weird elements even that they did with the levels, but they all kind of made sense, I guess you could say, with the universe of Mario. Like, oh, there's a piranha plant here, and it's like they can come out and do this, or an enemy can kind of walk this way, but if they're this type of enemy, so they can walk on the ceiling, and it can be weird, it can be unique and challenging the way they set it up, but it all makes sense within the Mario universe, I guess you can say. But with the Wonder Flower, it just completely unlocks that door, or takes away that barrier of making sense in the Mario universe, and it just lets them do whatever the heck they want, which, if 2D Mario's strength is level design and creativity, then it just lets them do so much stuff, and they completely go all in, which I think is awesome. I mean, the idea that some people don't like how jarring it could be and disorienting with all the changes and how much it changes each level with the Wonder Flower. But for me, one of my biggest complaints with a lot of games is falling into a gameplay loop too soon, and like you're 10 hours in, but you feel like you're doing the same thing from that point on. And my wife and I are about like halfway through the game, a little bit past half, and to me, it still feels fresh. I feel like each level, because of the Wonder Seed and the little weird, leaning into the weird, each level feels unique and fresh, and they add different gameplay elements. Like one Wonder Flower in a level, it changed the camera to an overhead view. Another had piranha plants singing away, and one even randomly slowed and sped up time as you progress through the level. Those are only a few of the many changes they've kind of made with the levels with the Wonder Flower, that you're just kind of those like surprising moments where you're like, wow, they did that, or whoa, I can't believe that happened, and just like laughing about it. And I think it's awesome. I don't think it's like throwing me off or anything. I like challenges. I like things changing up, and maybe that's my like attention deficit, but like I love it. I love the like constant changes, the constant like new gameplay like elements they add, and to me it just makes the game like really stand out. The weird changes to the levels just constantly brought a smile to my wife and my face, and to me, it's what video games are all about, when you stop and just say to yourself, like, wow, that was pretty cool. So my last and most surprising highlight of the game that I found up to this point is that the online mode is actually really good, and I never thought I'd be saying that about a 2D Mario game on the Switch, but here I am telling you that the online functionality of Super Mario Bros. Wonder is one of its best features. And it's not because you can play online through the whole story with your friends. Unfortunately, that's the one negative I have of the game. But it's just the way they did the online. It's kind of like a little bit of Dark Souls, but like with a Mario twist, I guess you could say. So if you have the online enabled, which you can kind of do in the hub world, when you start a level, you start it with 1 to 3 other players who are online, like, you know, across the world, and they'll kind of be in the same level, or when they're in the same level with you, but they'll kind of be transparent, but visible enough where you can see where they are. If you die in the game, one of the features in the game is like, instead of bubbling or you bubbling up like in New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, when you die, you become a little ghost, and you have about like 5 seconds. You have a little timer that goes down where if you touch your co-op partner, you'll revive. But with the online, if you turn into this ghost, you can be revived by one of those transparent online players. So it just, and then you can revive them as well. So it adds this like camaraderie, kind of like you're all playing this game together in these challenging levels, and you're kind of all helping a little bit. Like it might make the game a little bit easier because you have more options to kind of revive. But to me, it's just like, it adds so much unique experiences with the levels and different stories you have, like, oh, when this happened, we saved this person, or we let this person die. It's just so fun. My wife and I had an experience where we were in a castle level, and we went through with this person named Eric, and this person was Princess Daisy, and we got to the boss, which was Bowser Jr., and we're fighting Bowser Jr., and my wife and I noticed that Eric was with us, and we're like, oh, Eric's with us, and we saw that they died. This was right before we got the last hit on Bowser Jr., and then my wife and I desperately both tried to touch Eric's ghost before the timer came out, and we both were like a finger length from touching Eric to like revive them. And we were just a second too late, and we just saw them fade away, and we knew that they were by themselves. And it was one of those things where we were so disappointed we couldn't save them, but it was just such a cool extra element to the boss fight that was completely unique to who we were with and what was happening to them. So you have this going on in every level. And another feature is you can kind of put a standee of your character, whether it's Mario or Toad, and a cool thing is when you go to the shops in the game, you can buy different versions of the standees. Like you could have one that's Elephant Mario, or you could have one that's Mario Jump. Like, you know, you get it. But you can get different versions, so when you put them down, it's random between all the ones you own of that character. And when you put it down in the level, you can have one down at a time in the level. If a person online dies, if you're not close enough to them but they see your standee, they can touch your standee and revive. And then same goes for you, or like me or my wife, when we would die, if we saw a stand in time, we could revive that way. So once again, it makes it a little bit easier, but it just adds such a cool, especially for people that might struggle with this game and they don't necessarily want to be Yoshi or Nabbit, but it adds that little bit of like, oh, I'm really struggling in this section, but you see someone online put a standee right after the section, so if you die, you can kind of skip it, and it just gives options as you're going through the levels, and it's just like, then you're really thanking this person, you can do little emotes to them to like kind of express your gratitude. And even at the end of the levels, if you finish the level the same time as this online person, it will like make them not transparent and you'll finish the level together. And once again, it just kind of adds that camaraderie and it's just really cool. But yeah, the online was a unexpected but welcomed feature to this already amazing game. It just made a great game even better. And it's honestly one of my favorite parts of it. My wife and I are only like halfway through this game, but this game is a must-buy. I was getting a little bit of 2D Mario fatigue, but this game just completely has me immersed in it, and it's one of my favorite Mario games. And like, I know a lot of that's the hype talking. I tried to like wait like 2 weeks before I did this video, so I kind of wasn't really overwhelmed with that like hype, but it just seems like it has the difficulty you want, it has the co-op you want, and something I didn't mention is now you don't bump into each other, which some people might not like, but it makes the co-op so much better. But yeah, there's just between the art style, just the fun and unique gameplay, just the whole look and feel of the game, and then the online. Like, this 2D Mario is fresh, it's unique, and it's a must-buy. If you were thinking about getting this game but was holding off because you weren't sure about it, and I do see some videos online saying like, is this the worst Mario game, 2D Mario game ever? Like, just clickbait. And everyone's gonna have an opinion, and it's not gonna be the same as mine, but I think that this is one of my favorite 2D Mario games to date, and it is definitely the most fun I've had with a 2D Mario game for the longest I can remember. So, if you're thinking about it, those are my thoughts on Super Mario Bros. Wonder after about 2 weeks with the game. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and if you're interested in my memberships, please check them out. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!